It takes just a few bytes of plain text, really. No complex malware, no zero-day software exploit.
Right, just a handful of carefully chosen words.
Exactly. Sent to the right inbox at the exact right time, and suddenly, a billion-dollar enterprise finds its entire network completely compromised.
It happens every single day.
It really does. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today we are tearing into a stack of research titled Email Firewall Deep Dive, Securing the Organization's Primary Attack Vector.
It's a great paper.
Oh, it's fantastic. And real quick, you are tuning into the WeCyberYou Unlocked podcast. Do make sure you follow the channel and check out WeCyberYou.com for more content like that.
Highly recommend checking it out.
Thanks. But let's get right to the core mystery here for you guys listening. You look at the modern enterprise perimeter, right? We have endpoint detection, network segmentation, zero-trust architectures.
All this incredibly expensive tech.
Right. And yet, the undisputed king of attack vectors remains the standard everyday email. So our mission today is exploring the unsung hero that sits between the chaotic public internet and your corporate inbox, the email firewall.
Which is, it's the ultimate bottleneck of corporate infrastructure. You think about it, organizations are transmitting millions of emails daily.
Yeah, financials, logins.
Everything. Financial transactions, login portals, confidential contracts, sensitive intellectual property. It all flows through the simple mail transfer protocol, SMTP.
The lifeblood of the business.
Exactly. And attackers, well, they understand return on investment. Why would they spend weeks trying to bypass a next-generation network firewall when they can just, spoof an invoice?
Oh, yeah, just send it to an accounts payable clerk.
Right, and have them wire you $2 million directly. Tricking the human bypasses the perimeter entirely. All it takes is one person making one mistake.
It's the path of least resistance. So, to stop this, organizations deploy an email firewall. But, okay, let's unpack this, because I think a lot of people picture a standard stateful network firewall, right?
Ones that just inspect IP packets.
Yeah, exactly, just blocking bad ports and moving on. But this is a totally different beast. Instead of just checking traffic, think of an email firewall as an intense, multi-stage customs checkpoint.
That's a great analogy, actually.
Thanks. It's specifically engineered to interrogate email protocols, sender identities, and attachments, right? It sits right there between the internet and the user's inbox.
That distinction is crucial. A standard network firewall operates at the lower layers of the OSI model. It just looks at traffic flow. But an email firewall, it operates at the application layer. It's literally pulling apart the actual anatomy of the message.
Right. So let's walk the gauntlet here. Stage 1, an email arrives.
Yeah, so when a message arrives, stage 1 is that it doesn't go to your inbox. It goes straight to the firewall. And the entire life cycle begins at the absolute outer edge, which is the initial connection.
Stage 2.
Right. Before the firewall even cares about the contents of the email, it scrutinizes the server attempting to make the connection.
The initial handshake.
Exactly. The firewall looks at the sending IP address and cross-references it against real-time black hole lists, RBLs. It's basically evaluating the global reputation of that IP address.
Hey, is this guy a known troublemaker?
Exactly. Is it part of a known botnet? Or maybe it's a newly spun up server in a region your company doesn't even do business with.
Oh, right, geolocation.
Yeah. If the IP reputation is poor, the firewall just terminates the SMTP connection right there. It drops the traffic at the edge.
Which is great, because that saves enormous amounts of compute power.
Right. Huge amounts.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to scan the actual payload if it just rejects the bad actor instantly.
Okay, so you drop the obvious junk at the front door.
Yeah.
But let's say the sender is using a reputable IP address.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they compromised a legitimate server, or they are using a massive public cloud provider.
Which happens all the time.
Right, so the connection is accepted. Now we move into stage 3, the ID check. The realm of sender authentication.
And this is where we evaluate the holy trinity of email identity: SBF, DKIM, and DMRC.
Wait. I have to ask, how can a computer tell if an email from the CEO is actually from the CEO and not like a scammer in a basement somewhere?
Well, it relies on those 3 protocols. Let's start with SBF, the Sender Policy Framework. It's essentially a DNS lookup.
Okay.
The domain owner publishes a specific TXT record in their domain name system, and this record contains a strict list of all the IP addresses that are legally authorized to send mail on behalf of that domain.
Like a VIP guest list for the domain.
Spot on. So when the firewall receives an email claiming to be from, say, yourbank.com, it queries the DNS records for yourbank.com. If the IP address delivering the email isn't on that published list, SPF fails.
Simple enough, you check the guest list.
Yeah.
But then we have DKIM. Domain keys, identified mail.
Right, the cryptographic layer.
Yeah, and this is where the heavy lifting happens, and I want to get away from the generic it's a digital signature explanation. How are the public and private keys actually interacting here?
Okay, so it relies on public key cryptography. When an authorized server sends an email, it computes a cryptographic hash of the email's body and specific headers.
Like a mathematical summary of the text.
Right. It then encrypts that hash using a private key securely stored on that server. That encrypted hash is then attached to the email as the DKIM signature.
So the email arrives at our firewall. What does our firewall do with that encrypted hash?
It queries the sender's DNS records again, but this time it asks for the domain's public key. It uses that public key to decrypt the signature, which reveals the original hash.
Oh, okay.
Then the firewall computes its own hash of the email body and headers it just received. If the firewall's hash perfectly matches the decrypted hash, two things are proven.
Which are?
First, the owner of the domain genuinely sent it. And second, not a single character of that email was altered in transit.
Because if even one letter was changed, the math wouldn't match.
Exactly. And then DMRC is the policy layer. It basically combines both of those and tells the receiving firewall what to do, like reject it or quarantine it if unauthenticated messages fail SBF or DCALM.
Right. But what happens if the ID looks real, but the letter inside is suspicious?
Yeah.
That moves us to inspecting the actual message, right? Stage 4, looking under the hood.
Yeah, because authentication only proves who sent it, not if they're sending something safe.
Exactly. So the firewall tears into the header analysis. This is where it catches forged routing info, right?
It is. An email isn't just a block of text. It's a complex MIE structure, multi-purpose internet mail extensions. The firewall tears apart the headers looking for anomalies that are totally invisible to the user.
Like hidden reply to addresses.
Yes. A classic example is header misalignment. In SMTP, there's the envelope sender, which is the actual routing address used by the servers, and then there is the header from, which is what the user actually sees in their client.
Which is how you get an email that visually says it's from the CEO. But the actual routing address, hidden in the envelope, belongs to a server in a completely different country.
The firewall detects that misalignment immediately. It also looks for those deceptive reply to headers you mentioned, where the attacker hopes you'll hit reply and send sensitive data straight to an external drop account.
Okay, so let's say the headers are clean. Now the firewall drops into stage 5. The payload itself. Content inspection.
Right, the actual text of the email.
And we are talking about natural language processing here, or NLP. It uses that to flag urgent payment requests or credential harvesting tactics. It's not just looking for the word invoice, right?
Far beyond it, if you just blocked every email with the word urgent or invoice, you would completely paralyze the finance department.
Right, they'd never get any work done.
Modern firewalls use machine learning models to analyze semantic intent and sentiment. The NLP engine parses the syntax, it contextualizes the language, it understands the difference between a marketing email offering an urgent discount and an executive demanding an urgent wire transfer to a new vendor.
That makes sense. But even if the text is completely benign, the real danger usually lies in the links and the attachments. Stages 6 and 7.
Yeah, URL inspection is stage 6. And there is a really fascinating detail here about something called time-of-click protection.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, attackers use this delayed weaponization tactic. They set up a benign web page, maybe a copy of a standard tech blog. They send the email containing that link. The firewall receives it, scans the link, visits the page, sees nothing malicious, and delivers it to your inbox.
Because it was safe at that moment.
Right. But an hour later, the attacker alters the web server. They redirect that benign URL to a malicious credential harvesting portal. If the user clicks the link now, they are compromised.
So how does the firewall stop a trap that didn't exist when the email arrived?
Time-of-click protection. During the initial inspection, the firewall actively rewrites the HTML of the email. It takes the original URL and replaces it with a unique proxy link hosted by the security vendor.
Oh, wow. So when I click it, it checks it again.
Yes. It reevaluates the URL the exact moment a user clicks it. The proxy reaches out to the original target, renders the page in a headless browser, and if it has been weaponized since delivery, it blocks the request.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's like rechecking their ID at every single door inside the building.
Exactly.
And then we have attachment analysis, stage 7. I like to compare this to X-raying a package, searching for everything from standard viruses and Trojans to hidden executable code.
Yeah, it deconstructs the attachment, it pulls apart ZIP files looking for archive bombs designed to crash the system, it examines PDFs for embedded JavaScript.
But what if the X-ray shows something completely new, something no one has ever seen before?
A 0-day.
Yeah. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yep.
Stage 8. The sandbox. The virtual bomb squad.
It really is a bomb squad. If an attachment is suspicious but unknown, the firewall tosses it into an isolated virtual room and basically forces it to open.
Right, a controlled detonation.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that the firewall watches what the file actually does. Does it try to change the registry? Does it start encrypting things? Does it try to communicate with a strange network?
And if it does, boom, neutralized.
It's flagged as a critical threat and dropped entirely.
But then we get to stage 9, catching the invisible threats.
Right. Behavioral analysis.
Because what if there is no malware? What if it's just business email compromise or BEC? Let's say a trusted vendor's account is hacked and they ask for payment to a new bank account. There's no bad link, no bad attachment. How do you catch that?
The AI builds a massive communication graph of the entire organization. It monitors historical communication patterns, who normally talks to whom, what time of day do they communicate, what is the typical length and tone of their messages.
So it flags it because the language is inconsistent with past emails.
Yeah. If a CFO never emails the junior accounts payable clerk directly and suddenly does so at 2 in the morning on a Sunday, the AI flags it. It notices geographic anomalies, like the vendor's account authenticating from an IP address in a different hemisphere. It learns communication patterns and aggressively flags deviations.
Okay, so once the firewall has gathered all this data from all these stages, it has to make a final ruling. Stage 10, the sentencing.
The policy enforcement.
Right. It decides to either deliver the email, quarantine it, delete it completely, or maybe trigger an incident response, right?
Yeah, based on the organization's specific rule sets.
But there's a plot twist here. Stage 11, outbound protection. This usually surprises people because the firewall also watches emails leaving the building.
It's a critical function that organizations routinely overlook. Outbound inspection integrates data loss prevention, or DLP.
So stopping an employee from accidentally sending out a spreadsheet of customer records.
Exactly. The firewall actively scans emails leaving the corporate environment. It hunts for credit card numbers, social security numbers, or proprietary source code. If an exhausted HR manager accidentally attaches the master payroll spreadsheet and tries to email it to an external contractor, the firewall intercepts the outbound message and blocks it.
Saving them from a massive compliance breach.
And it also catches a compromised account before it uses the company's servers to spam others, which protects your domain's reputation.
So you don't end up on those blacklists we talked about.
Right.
Okay, I have to push back a bit here, though. Because if this thing is so smart, why do we still hear about massive corporate hacks starting with an email, like, every single week?
It's a fair point. The reality check here is that firewalls aren't infallible. They have inherent operational limitations.
Like what?
Well, one of the most glaring is encrypted archives. If an attacker sends a password-protected ZIP file...
Oh, because the firewall can't see inside it?
Right. If they include the password in the body of the email, the firewall is completely blind to the attachment's contents. It can't put it in the sandbox because it doesn't know how to open it.
So the encryption is doing its job just for the wrong side.
Exactly. And firewalls also struggle with highly customized social engineering that preys on human psychology. The multi-channel attacks, where an attacker sends a benign email referencing a malicious link that they simultaneously send via a LinkedIn direct message.
Bypassing the email perimeter entirely.
Yes, which is why organizations absolutely still need user awareness training and multi-factor authentication. You can't just rely on the firewall.
We've seen how it works. We've seen where its limits are. So where is this technology heading? What's the future look like?
Email firewalls are evolving to integrate with zero-trust architectures and extended detection and response, or XDR platforms.
Oh, so they're talking to the rest of the network now.
Yes, exactly. It's becoming a unified immune system. If the email gateway detects a novel threat, it automatically shares that telemetry with the endpoint security agent on your laptop. They are an essential layer in a defense-in-depth strategy.
Wow. It really is the unsung hero holding the perimeter together. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive today. A quick reminder to you all, you've been listening to the WeCyberYou Unlocked podcast. Please take a second to follow the channel and check out WeCyberYou.com for more deep dives into the technology that secures our digital lives.
Lots of great resources on there.
For sure. But before we let you go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We learned today that AI is analyzing our writing styles, right? Our tone, our syntax, just to block scammers and prove we are who we say we are.
The behavioral analysis, yeah.
Right. But as generative AI gets better at mimicking us perfectly, learning exactly how we format our requests or how we joke, will we eventually need our own personal AI agents just to read our emails and verify our own identities before we're even allowed to communicate? I mean, human trust might become totally obsolete. Something to think about.
A scary thought.
It really is. Until next time, stay safe out there.